Hey there. You know that creating content is incredibly important. It's the foundation of truly attraction based marketing and achieving your goals. And you might be wondering, how do I put enough attention into content creation and make sure that every bit of content I create is powerful and achieves my goals. My name is Winnie Anderson, as you well know, and today is Content Co-Creation Day. So I am going to just share with you some thoughts before I turn you loose to work on your content for the coming week, the coming month, and whatever else you may be working on. I am using the fabulous StreamYard app, and I am beaming into both my private Facebook group for my clients as well as into YouTube, and who knows where else I'm beaming into. And in this quick video, I'm going to talk about 3 things that I've found confuse a lot of business owners and content creators, and can lead to some frustration about the content of the messaging and the intention behind what you're creating. So those 3 things are what you see in the Chiron, the lower third there at the bottom of the screen, and that's demand generation, brand building, and lead generation. A lot of people communicate, I can't talk today, talk about demand generation and brand building in the same language. Or they talk about demand generation and lead generation interchangeably. They're not. These are 3 separate things. They're very closely related, and you want to really ultimately work on all of them. And yes, you can work on all of them at the same time. So let's clarify what these 3 terms are, what and how your marketing and content marketing fit into these concepts. So demand generation is historically it's thought of as the awareness building kind of marketing. It is, in the old school top of the funnel. In my language, it is the kind of content that happens pre someone joining your profit path and starting out on their buying journey. This is the kind of content that educates people that they even have a problem. And then it also educates them that you're available, right? So it's truly awareness building, and it's also that problem education kind of content. So these are people who have maybe not even decided to address the problem because they might not even be fully aware that they even have a problem. So you want to minimize the content that you create that targets people who just aren't even aware that they have a problem. You want to make sure that you're talking to people who are aware of their problem. They may think that the problem is A, when in fact, the problem is deeper and it's actually C. So A would be those kinds of surface level symptoms, and C is that deeper issue that is underlying those symptoms. So with demand generation, you typically would have a call to action. If there is one, it might be something very generic, like reach out to me for more information or join my list for further updates or that sort of thing. And while that kind of content is fine as you get your own sea legs around creating your content, and as you're still maybe figuring out what it is that your buyers want, or perhaps it is that top level content that is very much the open education type of content. That content is fine, but it's not going to generally lead you to the people who reach out to learn more because they're too early in their journey. So I'm going to tell you how to make the content more powerful when I finish explaining what these three are. So then there is brand building, and a lot of gurus that I have seen and that I've followed kind of diminish and poo-poo brand building. And what they're really talking about when they do that is demand generation content and marketing. So what you really want to understand is your brand is your reputation. And it is packaged and communicated in a way that is memorable, that is unique, and that helps you stand out in the mind of your potential buyers and those you come into contact. So brand building is critical, and it happens in a couple of ways. You build your brand just by existing, because you have a brand, whether you realize you have one or not. People talk about you. So what do they say? What they say when you're not around is your brand to them. If you want to be known for something, clearly you do, and as an expert, the go-to solution provider in your market to your target, then you want to take action that positions you clearly as that solution provider. So brand building happens not just visually, which is what we tend to think about, or verbally, which is what we also tend to think about when we think about things like taglines and things like that. Brand building happens every day in every interaction that you have, both with potential clients, with existing clients, and with random folks. People are taking in your information, they're taking in you, and they're forming decisions, they're forming opinions about you. That is part of building your brand. So in content creation, as you share that content, you are building your brand in the eyes and hearts of those who consume it. So you must build your brand, especially as we're heading into or in a recession, however way you want to describe that, because you want to be memorable. You want to be seen as the go-to solution provider. You want to be recognized as providing an essential service that solves a critical problem that people, regardless of what's going on in the economy, must have fixed, and must have fixed in, as soon as possible, in the next 30 to 90 days, ideally. That's that initial engagement with you. So we've got demand generation, we've got brand building. Some people think of that as brand awareness. And then there is lead generation. Lead generation, of course, is when someone has entered into your profit path, they are on their buying journey, and they have taken action to move closer to working with you. And that could be that they consume a piece of content, that they then take an assessment, that they opt in for one or more of those things, or they schedule a call with you. Whatever is your profit path and whatever is your process for guiding people along the journey. The whole point of creating content is so you are getting found, so you are having your message get shared, and that you are positioning yourself clearly as the go-to solution provider to those you serve, and to those you don't serve, who know those you serve and who are able then to pass your information along. So in this recessionary time that we're in, and really in order to survive now and thrive beyond a recessionary period, you must really create all three of these kinds of content. You want to focus, though, on lead generation and brand building. So you're building your brand with those who really don't know you, and then you're building your brand in the delivery of the results. And that, of course, is the absolute best brand building, because then you've got testimonials, you have proof elements that you can use to build your marketing and strengthen your position as a go-to solution provider. So these three things are interwoven. Now, I did say I was going to share how you can make demand generation content turn it into lead generation content. So demand generation content, like I said, typically has the, to learn more, go here, or to keep in touch, opt in here. There is not really a strong call to action, or hard call to action, as I refer to it. It tends to be a little on the soft side. And that's important because people want to progress along their buying journey the way they want to progress along their buying journey. They hate to be rushed and they hate to be sold to. So you're guiding them, and that's what your content does. That's what your billboard content especially does. Billboard content are those big pieces of content that really help guide people through their journey. So how you can turn demand generation content into lead generation content is you consciously connect the demand generation piece to a piece of lead generating content. The lead generating content, of course, pre-sells you, educates, elevates, inspires, and invites. Your demand content does that too, but the difference is lead generation content helps qualify them. And by qualifying them, it helps them understand the problem deeper. It helps them understand your point of view and how you can help them. And it helps them feel confident in taking that next step to learn more about you, to learn more about your point of view, to learn more about the results that you produce, and whether or not you would be a good fit for them. And of course, that's what great content does. It guides them along that way. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at the content you've created. You're going to look at an existing piece of content. Maybe you've written an article that you're ready to share on your blog. You're ready to share on a social platform. You want to look at the billboard content pieces you have. These could be things like buyer's guides, sales kits, anything that's appropriate to you and what you sell, and that will help the buyer. I look like I froze there for a second. Will help that buyer understand and make a decision to learn more, right? So they are saying, as they move forward, they're qualifying themselves by saying, yes, I want to learn more. I think I might be a good fit for you, and you might be a good fit for me. That's what qualification really is all about. And you want to do that with content as much as you can. This way, when you have this kind of content, when somebody does reach out to you, then okay, they've consumed this content. Looks like they really are serious about learning more. You want to do as much of that in the content process as possible, so you're leveraging your time, you're leveraging your team time, if you have a team involved in this process, as much as you possibly can. You need to be as efficient, right? We all need to be as efficient as we can, which impacts our profitability. And it helps us make sure that we're really serving the best people. So as you're looking at your content and preparing your content for this week and the month ahead, you can, or the quarter ahead, whatever you're doing, you can look at the existing content you have, especially focus on that billboard content. And if you don't know what that is, shoot me a note and I will fill you in on that, remind you if you need reminding, share with you something to help you if you need that. You want to look at your billboard content, look at other content, and see what can be suggested, right? So they've consumed this demand gen content maybe, and now what would be an appropriate lead generating piece of content that they can consume, and as they consume that, you're building your brand with them. So I hope that all makes sense. You need to schedule in time to periodically look at your content, do an inventory and an audit, and then connect these pieces. Yes, if you are on WordPress, you probably have some kind of plugin that provides suggested content to your readers as they consume each piece, but you don't want to rely on that plugin and how smart it is. You really want to take the action to say, hey, if you like this, or to learn more, go to this, to see how you fit, to see how you deal with this problem, take this quiz. Those are the kinds of things that you want to think about. Okay, so hope that has been helpful to you. Feel free again to make comments as questions. I'm happy to circle back and share some more information with you. And of course, this is what I do when I work with clients, is we look at where are you going, where are you now, And most importantly, who are you talking to and what do they need in order to move through their buying journey and reach out to you? That's really ultimately what we're trying to inspire, is having your prospects contact you, or having your existing leads and prospects say yes, and say yes faster and easier, because your content has pre-sold them on working with you. All right, this has been Winnie Anderson. As you well know, I'm a brand and content strategist. I work with service-based business owners to help them attract more of their best qualified clients and help them say yes faster and easier. All right, get cracking on creating your content plan or moving a piece of content further towards completion. And I'll see you in another video at another content co-creation session soon. Bye for now.